All right, welcome back. Welcome back to BDQ Cast. This is the top 16 from the Denver Vault Tour. I am CoDameron. I'm here with my host Kiramode.
How's it going, guys?
And we are going to roll right into the top 16 match. Okay, so we have Nathan at Bahamut Larissa, and I think he's from the decks of Keyforge team, right?
Yeah, he's wearing one of the shirts. When I was over there, I thought it was cool when people had ways to identify themselves. So decks of Keyforge, they were I think the biggest squad.
Ways to identify yourself, you say?
Yeah, we got our little jerseys here.
Yeah. So we have him, and we have Elliot. Los Angeles Swordfish? I don't know. Maybe he's on the team. Okay, let's take a look at their decks. I have Larissa here. So this is Elliot on the left. Or Nathan on the left.
Yeah. A key thing about Elliot in particular is he's the guy that beat the Echo Gamer deck in Swiss.
Oh.
So I remember he was put on the stream specifically because they're like, okay, this is the deck that beat one of our top decks that we've seen at the Net Deck tournament. Let's have this guy on stream and see what he can do against one of our own.
Okay. So let's look at this deck. This deck is ridiculous, just off the bat. The first thing you see is the 3 Control the Weaks, 3 Relentless Whispers, Bait and Switch, Routine Job. There's a ton of good stuff in here, just good cards.
Yeah, this deck can race, for sure. Like you just look at the amount of cards that generate Amber is really high in this deck. You got some good key control with the Bait and the Whispers and the Routine Job. Like, all those cards are pretty disgusting. The logo side has more key control than normal in that you have 2 Dexters and a Neurosiphon. Normally, logos doesn't really have much.
And a Phase Shift as well.
Yep. And then, of course, the triple control week is really where it's at, though, because that can oftentimes function as a key charge. You can keep people off of combos. And then just annoying disc creatures, too. Like, Ember Imps, Grekking, and Tentacus are all just cards you don't want to see on the table. And Lord forbid any of them get Rocket Boots.
Rocket Boots. There's some good Rocket Boots targets. I mean, Rocket Boots is just a good card. This is Double Reap. It says do a thing and then ready.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can also put it on even like the Terror. Like, the Terror is big enough that if you put Rocket Boots on it, it's going to live. I like the Psychic Bug, right? So you can have situations where you Psychic Bug, look at their hand, and then that sets up your Control the Weak play later.
Or even
maybe
the Phase Shift into the Control the Weak.
Yeah. There's some really good stuff in here. I like this one.
Yeah, this is a good list. Okay. Let's look at the other one. So it's the same house combination, right?
Yeah.
Hold on.
So I talked to Elliot after he won his game in Swiss, and what he basically said is that he just poltergeisted the the seed, and it was a wrap after that, because he has both a remote access and a poltergeist. So against decks that have seed in particular, this is not something you ever want to see, because it's like, not only do I blow up your seed, I also get to take my best card back in my hand and get to reuse it. He also said Hysteria was really big for him in that, because he could bounce all the guys back. Could be pretty good in this matchup too, because of the high disc creature count on the other side of the table.
Would you consider this deck to have more or less Amber control? I'm still on the fence. I think I like this one a little better, honestly. Amber control wise. I like the Drumble Lash. I like Neurosiphon Dimension Door with the Phase Shift is the same. I think Skippy Time Hog and Remote Access also kind of feel control-y, but the Shadows list is weaker.
I like the other one more, just because the Shadows list, like the double Routine Job and triple Whispers is going to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
Plus the Bait, whereas Elliot's deck doesn't have anything as big as a Bait. So like if your opponent reaches up to 10, Elliot doesn't have any way to bring him down, and then he doesn't have as much incidental stuff unless those Naughties hit. Now, if the Naughties hit or Umbra and they're next to the Shadow Self, now we're having a different discussion.
We've got a Speed Sigil here, so they're going to hit. And I actually want to flip back at it for a second and just do a Speed Sigil analysis. Is this a bad Speed Sigil match? Look at all these guys that don't get
this is a great Speed Sigil match.
Yeah, because none of these guys get value on Speed Sigil. They're all play effects. They're all static effects.
Also, like, Speed Sigil, where it really gets value is when you're up against static effect cards,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you're up against hunting witches or succubuses or shaffles or ember imps or stuff like that, that's where Sigil really makes its mark, because you can say, okay, I don't need to have something on the board right now to deal with it, or a kill spell. I just need to have any dude that's 3 or bigger,
Right.
and I get that guy off the table. And there are plenty of targets to go after.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have that many guys to fight with. Like Snudge is a great fighting target, as is the Terror, and so is Umbra. But I don't know about anyone else here.
This deck doesn't feel as good. I'm not sure why I think that. I think I'm just I prefer the consistency of the triple control of the week, double twin bolt, 3 relentless whispers routine. This seems more consistent. There's more 2-ofs and they're all strong. There seems like just better cards. I don't know. Why do I feel like this one's not as good?
I think the problem with this deck in particular is the logo side doesn't do anything. So you just look at it and you're like, what am I getting out of this house? And outside of a really key Skippy Time Hog, it doesn't do a whole lot.
Okay.
And then you just look at the other side, and the disc lineup is so much stronger than anything that the other deck has.
Which disc lineup is stronger?
The first deck. So the triple control the week disc. So I look at that, and then I also can look at the shadows list in the same deck, and I say both of these houses are very capable of carrying you to victory.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas then you look at the second deck, and it's a little bit harder to see any of the houses getting you to that point.
Yeah, I guess there are, 7 disc creatures here? That's a decent main house. What do you think about Evasion Sigil here?
I don't think you play it, honestly, because you're probably going to need to fight more often, just because you need to get rid of those Ember Imps. And I don't want to have a situation where it's like I play my Umbra fights, but I flip the top card and it's the wrong card and I just don't fight anymore.
Is there a chance that this is Prescott, this is the deck on the right. Is there any chance that they get off to an early double succubus or a snudge? This is a much more oppressive disc board when you take out the control of the weeks, which I guess you can't really do. But the succubuses and this has an Ember Imp too. Is that a reason to keep Evasion Sigil on the table? I don't think the answer is yes, but I don't think
so.
There's Carlo Phantom. There's reasons to play it, but I don't love it. Okay, so we're putting our money on the left on Bahamut because of Control the Weekend, the Whispers, and the Bait.
Yeah, I think the route to victory for Elliot is you got to get the early succubuses. That's going to be your best bet. If you can get those early, that changes the game pretty dramatically. Unfortunately for Elliot, he just can't. So the way that you beat Control the Week is you need to have boards, right? You need to have like giant boards where it's like, I don't care what house you pick, they're all good. Right. And so if you could turn Control the Week into all I do is I prevent you from playing key control and it's like functionally a key charge, that's fine. But if Control the Week is you don't get a turn, like if I just time walk you for it, that's when it becomes just obscenely powerful. Or if you're playing a combo deck.
Yeah, I can see Elliot getting just wrecked with 2 control weeks in a row. There's no good turn that I really need to be playing twice in a row here. But Luke makes one good last point, is that the only artifact that Poltergeist and Remote Access are going to hit is the Anomaly Exploiter, which
not a bad one.
But it's only one.
That's a good one to hit.
I don't think it's enough. All right.
I think you would Poltergeist your own Evasion Sigil potentially.
I would be okay with that. Yeah, to get fights in with Dodger.
Yeah, there's just like very slim value you can get there.
Okay, but I think this is different play styles of decks, and I think it's on Nathan to play bad Control the Weeks. Okay, turn 1 Ember Imp. Let's see the Relentless Whispers come down. He has it, but he doesn't want to play it yet. I would. You can't leave that Ember Imp on the table.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on what the rest of your hand looks like. But he's not letting it go. He's just saying that. Playing it like you get an amber and you kill a guy that's.
Oh,
good.
Did he pass? That's a
bad turn. That's what I was saying. Like you're gonna have the Relentless Whispers next turn. Ooh. I'd rather play 2 creatures and like maybe discard a card, and then next turn, because you got to figure Nathan's gonna make an amber. Mm-hmm. That's when you say, okay, Whispers, kill your guy, do some other stuff.
Control the Week for probably Shadows. Play Tentacus. Is he going to discard that Arise? Yep. Yes, he discards the Arise. Thank you, Nathan. That is the right play. He doesn't need that. It's too early for that.
Wait, are you sure you don't Arise just for the Ember Imp?
Okay.
Looks like he did.
Okay, I just don't want it to sit in your hand.
Well, he clearly doesn't have a kill spell for it, right? Like, he called a 1-card Shadows Churn.
Yeah.
Just to get rid of it. So, he has at most 1 Shadows card, which he played. And now it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to get it back. His Ember Imp now can't die. And by the way, this is why you would play the Creatures Turn 1. to not let this sort of situation happen. You got to build that board.
And it's Control the Weak. Ooh. There's... Okay. 3 Amber. So Nathan's, he's controlling. He's playing control here. He's not playing hard wins, I guess.
I mean, I think they're both racing. I just think in this particular matchup, I think Nathan has a little bit more ways to interact with than Elliot does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Elliot I don't think either of these decks really want to be playing against each other.
So Elliot's turn is out of necessity. He has to play 2 guys that are bigger than 5, just to get the Ember Imp off the table. And we don't know what Nathan's going to pull out here. Ooh, the Terror.
So Terror
for value is always a good play.
For value. What else do you have there?
That's 2 Terrors for value. That's really good. Does Nathan fight in a Charette? Okay, it's just...
I would just Reap.
Yeah, just... I don't think there's a reason to fight with the other guy.
Did he miss a Reap?
No,
because he didn't do anything with the Tentacus or the Ember Imp that I could see.
Do you think it's intentional to not get baited? How do you feel about that? Bait. Elliot
doesn't have bait, so he doesn't need to worry about that. It could have been a mistake. Like, maybe he just got so excited about the Terror that he didn't even think about reaping. He's like, oh, I get 4 Amber. This is great.
I want to give him more credit than that, but you might be right. I don't know. He went from 3 to 7 is 2 Terrors. Huh. Skippy is a good play. I mean, it's one of the better plays.
Forces a different house.
It's something. Yeah. But look at how good Elliot's turn would have been if he had been able to take out the Ember Imp faster. I mean, or keep it off the board, The Ember Imp actually stopped this from coming down. You know what I mean?
So if his first turn would have been play Logos and just play guys, then Nathan's next turn, he probably just plays a whole bunch of discards and maybe just discards the Arise,
Yeah.
Let's see, Twin Bolt feels bad because Elliot just had a board that could help him catch up, and I was like, okay, half your board's gone.
There's Rocket Boots in the tower. You were talking about that.
Yeah, you want to play it on a guy that's just big enough to live. So that way it becomes a double reap.
Thoughts on discarding Dexter instead of playing him? I think it's you can tell that Nathan values drawing new cards.
Yeah, I would have personally played him. But on the other hand, though, this is a racing deck, right? And as we've talked in our racing deck episodes, drawing cards is really important. So it could... Also, Elliot doesn't have Amber. So in Nathan's deck, it might be... Well, he doesn't have relevant amount of Amber.
Okay.
So I think in Nathan's deck, maybe he says, you know what, I'm only playing these guys if it keeps someone off a key. If it's not keeping them off a key, I just want to get through as many cards as I want, because the faster I draw through my decks, the faster I get to my control the weeks, and the more time walks I can get on somebody. Because he already had one pretty devastating control the week where all Elliot could do was play a Chud and pass.
Elliot goes Logos for Reap, Fight. What else does he have? Labworks. Okay, I'm okay with Labworks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to see what else he had, because he just called Logos the previous turn, so it's not like he has a whole bunch of Logos cards in his hand to be able to extract value out of.
So here's a thing that I think you have to consider when you're playing against triple Control the Week, or a high value of Control the Week. You have to be bouncing around between your turns, right? If you play Logos twice in a row,
and you get would be pretty gross
because it's an easy Logos call. Has it. Right? It's auto Logos.
Yeah, well, I mean, he called Shadows. But, like, that's actually, like, when you're up against Control the Week also, you don't want to have a situation where you call a house and then you end up with pretty much no board of that house afterwards.
Right.
Because that's just, like, the easiest Control the Week call ever.
Yeah, Elliot's just not getting... I don't know if he's drawing awkwardly. The Emperor Imp was in the way. But Nathan is just playing a more efficient game. I can't say if Elliot's playing the wrong game. I don't know if he had better turns than what he's done, because I can't see his hand that well. But yeah, he's behind. He's like solidly behind.
This just it looks like a bad set of cards. I think it's one of those, you're in a bad matchup and your deck's not doing you any favors, and we're seeing what's happening now. because I wouldn't say that Nathan's really high rolling them all that hard. You know, like his draws have been fairly reasonable. They could be a whole lot worse based on what we saw on the deck. It's just that the matchup's not there. Like that Snudge and that Succubus, if they come out like turn 1, completely different game.
Did Elliot discard Hysteria? Is he afraid of? Oh, actually, you have to discard Hysteria because you're afraid of Charette into Tentacus?
Charette into Tentacus, and then I might still play it, honestly.
He would even get 3 Fates.
Like, I just think...
But he doesn't know that, but...
Well, I just think, like, if you Hysteria into 2 guys, right? That's a Snudge and a Succubus that Nathan cannot deal with on the board. He's going to have an answer from hand, which he happens to have the answer. But especially when you're behind, you need to take plays that can potentially put you ahead. And I don't know if, like,
he's also afraid of the
terror really matters all that much.
He's afraid of the Urchin, too. He doesn't want to get re-Urchined, which I think is a sacrifice I would make because, you know, it's another card. You're going to get stolen from anyway. You have to be playing through all the steal. You can't prevent it. He's going to have it.
And so Nathan is making some fights here. Probably the right choice. Like, there's a good case I made that you should just reap here. But I think the fights are fine because he feels like he can build a board better than Elliot can. And so if he can build a board, might as well maintain it. Also, he saw that the Hysteria is gone now. Mm-hmm. So there's not a whole lot left to worry about.
I wonder if he plays 3 Fates here. Do you think he'll play 3 Fates to get to 6?
3 Fates would kill off his Tentacus, the Doc Bookton, and the Terror. Actually, that's not bad.
I think he wants to keep the Terror around for the Lash. Because notice he fought with the Charette into the Succubus, not the Terror. I mean, it's a minor thing. Charette's probably a better fighter there anyway. But I think having the Terror on board for Lash is really good.
I mean, you're 2 for 1 in yourself if you play that, right? So you're losing 2 guys. He loses 1 guy. And then dealing with that Ember Imp's just kind of hard right now. Because he can only do it through logos unless he draws into his other whispers.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's going through Nathan's head, I would assume, is does he play 3 Fates to keep the Ember Imp alive? That's really what the question is.
Mm-hmm. In general, I think if we're below 2 keys, I prefer to do board-based actions as opposed to pure Amber.
Okay, look at how good Sigil is there. Umbra went from a dead card, because he always gets killed, to an answer to Ember Imp. Amazing. I love it.
And he's still an Amber.
And he gets full value out of the Umbra. Go Sigil. Team Sigil.
And then Nathan can't really punish him for the Sigil, which is good, except that he's ahead. So the only downside of the Sigil here is that because Nathan's up a key, Sigil's going to make the game go by faster. And you don't really want that when you're behind.
I disagree. I think the only way that Elliot gets back into this game is more efficiency than Nathan, and we've already seen that his deck has more efficient Reapers than Nathan's. I think Sigil is the way. Also, it gets you out of more control the weak turns that you know are coming. I think Sigil is absolutely an important play here.
Well, the way that you would want to control the weak is in situations where they just don't have cards, right? You want to time walk somebody. And that should be Nathan's goal when he's doing this.
Right. And time walk is just taking another turn, right? It like gets you a free turn.
You just say, I play control the weak, call whatever, and then your turn is like reap with a guy and pass or something.
That twin bolt is actually kind of rough.
Yeah, I mean that's always a problem with playing small dudes, right? Like if you have little dudes, they get killed off by small kill spells. And in particular, those kill spells get him Amber. So Nathan, he didn't get to 6, unfortunately for him.
I think
he got an Amber plus kill 2 guys.
I don't think Nathan has been trying to race from the start. Nathan could have done things to race this game, but he's been playing a controlled, slow game. And
I think he's playing the slow game because he knows that his deck is better suited to it.
Right,
right now.
But I'm trying to note that he is choosing not to race. He is keeping his board control and his Amber control over his Amber generation.
Yeah.
Oh, is there a question? I don't know.
I wonder what they could be asking about.
Not Tentacus, maybe. Maybe something with Nexus. Oh, Poltergeist. Can he poltergeist his own sigil and kill it? The answer is yes. It uses it and then it kills it. Oh, but no.
Chess, not checkers.
Oh, but here's a real question.
Tentacus. Okay.
Using the sigil on Poltergeist, it doesn't have an action or something. Does Tentacus steal an amber? Because if I poltergeist your library, you will steal an amber on Tentacus. If you poltergeist your own sigil, which is your card, but more importantly has no action, I think Tentacus will still take an amber.
Yeah, because you're still using the card. Right. So like using the cards whenever you just activate it.
So okay, that's actually a cool play. Playing chess, not checkers. Checkers is still a cool game. Don't knock checkers. Can't touch the red squares.
I mean, I guess you can run Schuler into the Tentacus and then poltergeist your own speed sigil.
Like, I want to be reaping. Yeah, reap. Okay, yeah. He has to push his advantage.
Yeah, that's what he's going for. I mean, he doesn't really have an advantage. Let me see here. He got up to... Okay, here's a question on Poltergeist.
Oh, look, no, it didn't give him an amber.
He played it.
He got the amber, and he didn't give over an amber.
They ruled against him?
Yeah. I guess it didn't...
He blew up his own sigil, so he should be giving an amber back.
Because we're assuming that he used it, but apparently it was just ruled here that it's not. That's the thing to look into later. It might be because...
yeah, I feel like that's the wrong rule.
Hold on. Actually, let me just pause this real quick. I want to read Poltergeist. It says to use an artifact controlled by an NA player. You can't use Sigil, so you don't do that by the rules of Keyforge. Then you destroy that artifact. You still targeted it. That's, I think, the ruling. Right?
Oh, okay, I see. That makes more sense.
It didn't get used, right? But it's still, do as much as you can on the card. So it's still.
So you can still destroy the artifact even if you don't use it. Okay.
He's still playing chess. He's playing chess, not checkers.
I guess this is what you call the judge, right? Some of us don't know the rules. And then, all right, that's a really good turn because he gets a bunch of amber. Mm-hmm. He puts them in check.
He puts Succubus on the table.
He has a board that Nathan has to deal with on some level, which is good.
Yeah, like Nathan has to slow down, to fight another thing, and this is why, maybe Nathan's, I guess this is why he holds the 3 fates. Ooh, that's actually a really big 3 fates.
Yeah, just killing 3 guys is brutal.
No, Ryan, these are tricky rulings. I think I want to get better at rulings myself. And that's actually an important one to know, especially for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, the rules in this game are oftentimes very clunky with how they word stuff. So yeah, don't feel bad if you don't know the rules.
Okay, check this out. Instead of fighting with Tentacus and reaping with Charette, he fought with Charette even though it died. Because he thinks, well, one, he might not be declaring dis very much anymore, and the passive effect of Tentacus is more important. But I think the bigger reason is that he sees that Lash on the table, and that's what Tentacus says. Lash costs a steal. And he values that more than having the Charette on the board for future dis turns, because there might not be future dis turns. I love it.
Does he have a second copy of Arise or not?
No. Maybe? No.
I mean, the Shred's not doing anything anyways, right? It's just, it's a guy that has 1 health left.
It had no amber, and the Tentacus is a really important card to keep around. If you fight with the Tentacus, then he's killable by Relentless Whispers. I don't know.
You also want to keep Elliot at an empty board for as long as he can, right? Because the longer he's at an empty board, the higher percentage chance that there is that he declares a turn where he plays a bunch of cards, has no creatures, and then you're like, all right, I use my dis turn to just time walk you with the Control the Weak.
I guess having a dis board is important for Nathan because of Control the Weak. But maybe he thinks that he can maybe he's trying to just win the game normally by playing better cards and drawing into Control the Weak and other tools later. I think
he has a Grecking out too.
I think
so. His dis board is intimidating.
I want to talk about the holding of the 3 fates. Was that the right play? I mean, it turned out to be the right play, but I
think it was okay. Mainly because you can look at Elliot's deck and see how many 5-cost guys there are.
Mm-hmm.
And also you can just say, if I have a whole bunch of weenies, right? That, like, Nathan's deck has a lot of 2s and 3s. So if your big dudes just happen to die, now you have a way out.
Right.
He's also way ahead, so it's a little bit more acceptable to hold a card like that when you're already ahead.
Sure.
And you already have a board.
And you're happy to be declaring dis when the time comes.
Yeah.
Look at that hand. 3 shadows, 3 logos. I want to see Shadow's turn out of Nathan. I want to see all those 3 guys reap, honestly. I want to see Nexus reaping to get Lash. Okay, so it's logos.
Okay, so there's a psychic bug. So you can see there's 3 discards and 2 shadows cards and a wormhole.
I see 1 Schaefel's, which says that Nathan has to be at 7. And he can do that with the Neurosiphon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a psychic bug. He doesn't need it here. He's just pushing his advantage. I think he's holding the Shadows cards for when it's important. Yeah, that's a good Shadows hand. Oh, please play the Neurosiphon.
Yeah, I would play it. Just get the Amber. Like, you're not going to get an opportunity to do it again.
You have to, because he only has a Schaefel's. If you don't play the Neurosiphon, then he plays Schaefel's and 2 other discards. Come on. That's easy. Draws.
Yeah, because now if he wants to keep him off a key, he has to give him an Amber in order to do the Lash.
Here comes the double control the week. Oh, there's also a card in Elliot's archive. Plays Logos.
What card? Lab work.
Lab work.
I don't mind the Logos turn there. So his turn was Wild Wormhole Pass.
Really?
Prayer's as good as anything at this point.
Why is that okay to you?
His other cards in his hand don't do anything.
But they're more cards. So you need to play them.
I'm just thinking, like, you might need to rip something off the top here.
No, I don't. I kind of want to go back because I remember there being 3 discards, and they weren't terrible. Here comes Control the Week, and now he's gonna get double Control the Week. Like, you can't be playing 1 card after a psychic bug. You have to get new information into your hand. Nathan knows 5 of his 6 cards. That's a big problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if Elliot has any cards that could, because he needs to clean up the board. So I don't know if he has any big board swing cards in his deck that could have come off the top there. I just think, like, if you play this there, you just lose.
Double Control the Week. No, game over. Double Control the Week, act as 2 time walks. Elliot can't play Logos cards because he doesn't have any. And that's the problem. You needed to play... No, that was a huge... I mean, I think the game was already over at this point, but you can't get Psychic Bugged and then play 1 card.
It's like, but you don't know he has a Control the Week. And so, like, I just think when you're behind, the way you play has to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if my opponent just got up to 7 for a second key and he has a monstrous board, like, playing Shaffles and, like, 2 discards that do nothing, and then my next turn is my opponent uses Grecking to steal my Shaffles and then reaps a couple times and then controls the weak me into
Shaffles.
It's like that's not a good turn. So wait, go back to go to Elliot's deck. Let's see if he could have ripped anything that could have saved him.
On the
because I feel like playing Shadows.
Yeah.
I just feel like playing Shadows or Disc just loses him the game immediately.
Really?
So let's see if he. Yeah.
We're making the opposite argument. He didn't really have that, right?
Huh?
We're making the opposite argument. I'm saying that Logos is what loses him the game. Hold on.
No, I just think that Logos gives you a chance. I think he was pretty much dead in the water. And I think when you're dead in the water, you have to go for whatever is the most high variance play you can.
But what... No, I think the high variance play is you draw 3 new cards.
So if he just goes Dis, and that's it.
Okay, let's look at this.
He's just letting his stuff get stolen. Okay, so like his Shadow's turn does nothing.
It's 2 naughties. It's double naughty, wormhole, triple dis. I think you play the 3 disc creatures. What's wrong with that?
So he has an Ember Imp, a Shaffles, and something else.
Like, is he afraid that he's gonna get Overlord Greckaned? I mean, that's a real fear.
Yeah. Like if you play your disc creatures, one of them gets stolen, the other one probably gets killed, and then you just get control the weekend at disc, and you're in the same spot anyways.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying he had good options.
Taking control the week off the table, I still want to play Dis. I'll discard the 2 cards and play Tendrils of Pain. What's wrong with that? Discard the dorks.
Okay, so you discard the weenies, you play the event, and then just see what. Okay, I guess that's fine too.
I think it's a better variance play. I don't know.
But you need to. You're on prayer.
No, this game's already.
And that's where I'm like the wormhole. The wormhole lets you look at 2 cards, right? You draw 1 card off the top of your deck, and then you play 1 card off the top of your deck.
Okay, new line of questioning. How about
Sure.
What was there anything that he could have done previously to get him back in the game? I think the answer is no. I think that he low-rolled this game. His deck really didn't give him. You said he didn't do him a lot of favors.
I think his turn 1 was really bad though. So the
Whispers.
Yeah. So he has 6 cards in his hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his choices are he can like play a couple creatures. Like he can like play 2 creatures and like maybe discard a card or something.
Right.
Or he can play the 1 Relentless Whispers and kill his guy. And
it's the instinct. It's the instinct to Whispers, right? To kill the threat.
Yeah, that was bad. Like, so he was holding on to a Doc Bookton and a Mechanic, right? So if he goes Bookton Mechanic, right?
And then discard remote access.
Yeah, or whatever, right? So like then his next turn, like Nathan's gonna do what he does. You now have 2 houses that can deal with that Emperor, right? You can run your Doc Bookton, or your Titan Mechanic into that Ember, or you Whispers the Ember. And instead, it's like, okay, I play Whispers Pass. Now you open the door for Nathan to have like a really big turn that becomes uncontested.
Mm-hmm.
And if you play like the Logos turn, now you have something. I don't know what he had for Dis. I'm guessing he didn't have much. But just play 2 bodies and then maybe discard a couple cards, draw new stuff.
So I guess the lesson here is to not always kill the Imp. Right, he's a threatening thing on the board. Like you always want to kill Succubus, you always want to kill Ember Imp, but you might not need to on turn 1 every time immediately. It feels kind of bad.
I mean, but think about it this way, right? The whole point of the Imp is it limits your opponent down to 2 cards, right? So if you were to call Logos, he plays 2 cards instead of 3.
Right.
But he just willingly played 1 card.
Oh, I see.
So like he just
it was a super good Ember
himself.
Yep.
Yeah, that's. Now, again, I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but I feel like if you play the Logos turn first, maybe you draw some more Logos stuff.
It's a rough matchup, man. I think this is...
But that's really where I think he had a chance, but not much of one.
Yeah. All right. I think that's a good summary of this game. Congratulations to both of them. That was top 16 at Denver Vault Tour. Stick around in like a minute. I'm going to shut down this stream, pick up another one. We're going to do top 8. And we got a cool game coming up for top 8, don't we, Daniel?
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah. All right, stick around. It's going to be like 2 minutes. See ya.